Hello everyone, my name is Lavani. I'm also part of Kindle India, and it gives me great pleasure. If not, Shreyasan sir here is on a hat-trick mode. Arnab is definitely on a hat-trick mode. So volume 3, that's really nice. Congratulations for that. So before we start the evening, for the new people who are here, I would like to talk briefly about Hydra and what is Hydra. So Hydra stands for Hyderabad Readers and Writers. This was first founded by 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞 in 2018. The inaugural session was conducted in September. The book is at the center of Hydra's mission. Hyderabad has always had book clubs and writing groups, but we are unique in the sense that we are a platform for both readers and writers. So we strive to be the bridge connecting readers and writers. We are a mutually supportive group where we help each other with knowledge sharing, tips, and constructive feedback. So as a book lovers community, we at Hydra plan to make our readers into subject matter experts or motivational speakers or life coaches, and the writers into national bestselling writers. So we usually meet on the last day of the every month. This is like a regular meetup that we do. Before, in the pandemic when we used to do online, but now we have also started offline. It seems we have a lot of people scattered all over India, so we are trying to get into that mode of online and offline together. So let's see how that goes for fun. So that is briefly about Hydra. You can follow us on Facebook, at Hydra, even on Instagram for more details. That is about Hydra. Now let's talk about why we have about this evening in specific to Arnab. So Mr. Srinivasan, our chief guest, has not yet joined, so we directly jump into the author section. So before we start, I would like to briefly talk about Arnab, introduce Arnab to all of you. So born in Agartala, the city in northeastern India, Arnab currently lives in Sydney, Australia, where he fills a role as a senior consultant at an MNC. While Arnab has been in the corporate sector for 17 years, he has changed realms of expertise multiple times, allowing himself to tour the corporate landscape while taking on recognition and rewards from operations manager and project lead. Arnab now specializes in developing technologies. These are where the seeds of what we seek to do take root. So to put his journey in his own words, he's inspired by the people's knowledge in different countries and cultures. He has met people of various nature, helping these people find and achieve their goals, educating the people in need, and solving the day-to-day problems is his strength. Arnab's helping to design systems that help employees, management, stakeholders, and company employees to be engaged. He wants to see the work culture evolving to a place where people would like to get involved. In the series of the books we are launching today, and the book is already available on Amazon here. Within a few couple of seconds, I'm going to show you. But this is his volume 3. So the name of the book is Priming You. This is volume 3, Knowledge into Practice. I think maybe we should share the post. Okay, I'll first share the link and take you all through a little bit about the book and all, and then we can then ask Arnab all the questions. So, let me just share my screen. So this is 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐿.com, and here we have all the links of the books. It's available in India, it's on Amazon Kindle, it's on Amazon and it's Paperback, it's on Flipkart. So this is the volume 3, Knowledge into Practice by Arnab. And a little bit about the blog you can see, and then also there's a lot of background about the book. To fully comprehend mindfulness, we must first comprehend its polar opposite, that is mindlessness. Interesting. It's all about focusing on your goals, stronger relationships, and it's reducing your worries to sound like a good idea. So this is about knowledge to practice, and this is available on Amazon. As you can see the links here, it's available on Kindle, and it is also on Flipkart. And I'm going to share the Kahani Store link now in the chat window, and anyone who is interested can actually buy the book from Amazon or Flipkart or even from the Kahani Store. We'll also be sharing these links after the meet today in our hrtuK group, so that readers who are interested and has already read volume 1 and 2, which was really a very huge success among the readers, can read the volume 3 as well. So a very hearty congratulations on volume 3, and we would like you to tell us what is volume 3 about. And Mr. 𝐤𝐸𝐵𝐞 has joined us. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? So can you hear me?
Setting up his mic. Well, it's a hrtuK, thankfully.
I think it's going to join back. Probably is having some technical problems. So, yeah, over to you. So, what is volume 3 about?
Sure. Lavanya, first of all, just want to say how I'm feeling today. Really excited this evening. I really want to start, by thanking hrtuK and all the associated entities and everyone around here who helped make this book possible. It's been a long journey. I mean, I started this book, writing this book 2 years back, and I couldn't have done it without all your support. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for coming. Volume 3, Lavanya, really talks mostly about two critical aspects. One is the psychology, which is centered around employee mental health, and the second one is the workplace diversity. So if you read the book entirely, so everything is revolving around these two topics majorly. So I've done a ton of reading and have spent a lot of time thinking about these associated issues. And I understand that if we concentrate on these two aspects, we sure can get a fix, or I would say get a starting point on fixing the major challenges that we see in the corporate sector, or any workplace in general. As you know, my target market is corporate. So corporate employees hardly get the time, get time to read books, I would say. So the message is, even if you are not a book person, you still can read this book by simply reading through the bullet points. So this book is designed with bullet points. You don't have to read the entire book. This is generally to all the people who are non-book person. So everyone up here are from the readers and writers community. So you read books, but this message is for the general audience, because I'm going to be sharing this to the entire group of people in my corporate sphere. So this is specially designed for non-book people. I want to keep it short and simple, Lavanya, at least the intro part. This book is entirely about two aspects: psychology and diversity, and lots of tips and tricks given throughout the book for you to benefit from it.
So it's not like denser like the volume 2.
It is. More number of pages in comparatively, but denser in that stuff. No more philosophy here.
I don't agree to you don't agree too much. I really liked volume 2 and all your efforts that you put together. Yeah, sometimes truth is dense. So people have to go to that length to learn new things, learn better things. Everything is not shortcut enough. But you can also get your idea of making it crisp in the third volume so that people who don't read, nowadays who reads, right? And with less attention span, it's really difficult to hold people's attention. So yeah, so it's a wonderful strategy.
Yeah, and Lavanya, I mean, just one line about philosophy, as you mentioned it here. When you try to build something concrete or something substantial, let's say building a product or probably shaping your kid's career, or maybe building your own positive mindset, right? You need to make sure that your base is strong, right? A building collapses if the base isn't strong, right? So philosophy is that base. It's from where everything originates. I mean, every human conceptual orientation, be it physics, chemistry, math, architecture, and even our morality and theology, religion. So if you can't conceptualize your basic fundamentals, you're bound to make mistakes in life and ultimately fall. So that's the simple message about philosophy. Yeah.
Well said. Good Srinivas sir is here now. So can you hello sir, can you hear me? Yes. So lovely to have you here. We were just discussing that Arnab is doing a hat trick and we would really like to have Srinivas sir also on the hat trick and whether you're going to make a hat trick or not. So it's so nice to be.
I'm extremely sorry. I just rushed in from a preview theater. We are launching our movie today with some distributors. So I want to tell you all that we just made a movie.
Great, what's the movie name?
It's The Rockstar in Telugu. Sorry, let's not deviate. Catch up on the topic later. Sorry, Arnab. I'm just made in time. Not in time, late actually.
A little late, but still on time, yes.
Please carry on.
Thanks for the hat trick, sir. Thanks for the hat trick.
When I was just showing the link, I was just glancing through the bullet points in the blur. And I was just thinking about this mindfulness and mindlessness. So I think your book probably provides a good length of writing about mindfulness and what are your mindfulness tips for corporate leaders. How did you cover the polar opposite mindlessness as well into this entire concept?
You started off with the right question, Lavanya. Thank you. Let's say a manager or a director or maybe CEO like Srinivas sir. These are just positions, right? The true quality is leadership. And as Srinivas sir says, I don't want to call them managers. I want to call them leaders, right? So managers and leaders, they are in a unique position inside the company to provide safe haven for the employees. Now this is truer now than it has ever been. Managers or leaders can help establish employee trust by integrating routines that anticipate workers' concerns and address or prevent some of their problems. We see in any bigger organization or any mid-scale organization, it's always a pyramid structure, right? You see the most of the doers of the organization, mostly the worker class. They form the base of the pyramid. So at least 60 to 70% of employee strength lies at the base of the pyramid. And as you see, the pyramid goes up, narrower. You see the other roles like the first level managers, the second level managers, and so on, like the VPs, and it goes up to CEO. It narrows down to the level of CEO. Now, as you would see that if you target the bottom of the pyramid, it's easier to concentrate on most part of the organization. But then it's equally difficult because it's too many people, right? So it's best to target the first line managers, which is right at the bottom of the pyramid, the second level from the bottom. So that is the reason I concentrated more on developing training structures for leaders or managers. Let's call them managers for the time being. Manager is a role, and leadership is a quality, right? So what should be taken into consideration while assessing the situation, right? There are certain factors associated with employee concern about their mental health, personal issues, personal life issues, relationship issues, issues with their mental or physical health, or even workplace culture contributing to employees' poor mental condition, right? So how do you know what's going on with them? The only easy thing to do is to run regular checkups, right? To do one-on-one regular checkups on a regular basis. So don't just discuss work. That's my message. Don't just discuss work, finance, operations, or sales. Discuss the pressures of their job, their workload, or maybe safety concerns, and even discuss personal issues, right? Now, I'm given multiple tips throughout the book, but I want to discuss a few of them here, by which you can learn how to transition from being a typical manager to a true leader. So let's say number one, these are the tips as you have asked for, Lavanya. Number one, never say, here's your problem, go fix it. We tend to do this, right? Here's a problem, go fix it. Managers or leaders are not here, or in the organization to identify a problem. They are also liable to get together and fix it with the employee, right? Rather than saying it, try empathy and understand the struggle, because your employee's struggle is your struggle as well. Number two, let the employee vent, right? Allow the employee, time and space to process whatever feeling they're experiencing. Don't jump in and immediately, correct the employee, right? Let him vent and hear him out, right? But then also make sure that, his behavior is not unacceptable, or he's not saying something unpleasant or threatening. Keeping that aside, you need to make sure that you hear the employee out. Number three, pay attention to what the employee has to say, right? Show that you're curious. Sometimes it pretty much solves the issue. Maybe just he's here just to, vent out and say what he has to say. Hear him out. The same thing, actually. Number four, don't try to fix the employee's issue. We are always in the fixing mode. Have you realized? Whenever someone comes, junior maybe, someone comes to us, we always are in a suggestive mode, right? So be cautious about, offering any kind of suggestions. So offering a quick fix can actually backfire by making the employee believe that you don't even understand his problem, or even worse, that you don't even care. Number five, don't use vague phrases like, it'll all work out at the end, I know you can do it. These are old motivational short punches. Doesn't work, right? And these kind of phrases can come across as condescending and out of touch. It shows that you don't care, right? As I said, these small motivational punches are backdated. And number six, If the outburst lasts for a longer time, right, than a few minutes, probably there are many tricks. You can change location. You can offer a quick break to the employee or resume after some time. Play around with the space that you got in your offices. And number 7, I think this is the final one. I will stop here. Be careful and mindful about what is going on in the company. This is not specific for one individual, one employee, but a group of employees in general, right? Be careful. Like Srinivas sir gave an example of a 60 years old man, right? At the time he was only 20 years, and he was supposed to be doing his appraisal for a 60 years old person. At the time when he was 20 years, he noticed the sadness in that employee's face, and he said that if someone is not smiling, there is a reason behind it. If someone is not happy, there is a reason behind it. You need to take things from a very human perspective. So, for instance, notice these things. Employee arriving late or maybe absent on a regular basis. It's a flag, it's a red flag. Extreme exhaustion, which could indicate sleep deprivation. A considerable change in productivity, let's say. Or employee is always depressed or frustrated most of the time. These are certain things that you should notice as a leader. As a human being, first of all, become a human being. The role comes next. That is how you transition from being a typical manager to a leader. And these are my 7 best points, but there are several other tips and tricks throughout the book. But what I want to emphasize to everyone here, to the corporate employees in general, is to be very mindful about whatever you're doing. Be mindful, whether you're eating, walking, reading, or even sleeping. So I think, I'll stop here. These are a few tips, Lavanya.
Those are wonderful tips, but I was just thinking it's okay to be always mindful of the employee and give them a lot of we consider the problems and all that. Sometimes don't you think employees just make excuses? It's your heart. What's your advice on that? I mean, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Struck me. I guess there are so many other. Yeah. So, anybody has any questions on what Anna just shared? Srinivas sir also wants to ask a question.
Yeah, I feel like Arnab should write another book to guide me in some other aspect, not in management. Later I will discuss.
You're way up.
One question, Arnab. You said when some, like especially a junior employee comes to you with some problem, we are quick to give suggestions or solve his problem as a quick fix. Yeah, this is an instinctive nature. Even sometimes I tend to take his problem immediately. So as you said, sometimes, but here there is a conflict. Like what I am really sincere about solving his problem. Maybe the approach may not be correct, but you said it appears as though we don't care. So if we don't care, it is like it is cautiously doing not care. But are we cautious here when we are trying to fix a problem, or we are not fully out? Before we understand this problem, we are trying to give a solution. Is that what you want to say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we are too early we don't listen. No, that's the problem with today's generation. We simply, whenever someone has started to even begin, we already have assumed, and so much of prejudices. We already have assumed and have formatted what the other person looks like, and we already have devised our solution at the back of our head. This shows the judgmental nature of a human being. Why can't we be simply blank and hear someone? That's what I mean. You're right. Yeah, the same thing that I'm saying. Yeah. And sir, we are from the information revolution age. If you see, And this generation people are from the digital revolution. There is a difference in mindset about these people. Um, you know, it was, I don't know if this is a different topic altogether, but very shortly, uh, we took care about our grandparents' problem, which is about job security. And these kids, which are newcomers to the organization, for them, we took care about the standard of living, like, buying a car or house. These kids are not bothered about job security or standard of living. These kids are bothered about quality of living. And they think differently. So we need to be more conscious about the newcomers, of how they are thinking, how they're projecting themselves. Often at time we are actually, we think ourselves as overrated in front of them. Yeah.
That's very true. That's a valid point. I mean, the generation now, they're not many people who are actually concerned with job security. It's a quality of life. So if we present the same old thing for a job perspective, it might not work for them. So anyways, Ravi has raised her hand, so Ravi, go ahead with your question.
I don't know. I have your book, but I did not start it yet. So the first volume. I need your genuine suggestion on this. Okay? Even I'm a manager, and I have a team of 5 people. It's been 1 year since I've been trying to put forth my problem to the management, my directors and my CEO. So, without beating around the bushes, I just want to ask you, is patience of a manager or a leader, is that to be his weakness or a strong point?
So that's an easy answer, actually, Ravi. Patience is always a strong point.
Strong point.
Always.
So,
be careful about this. I need to be careful about saying this. Too much patience is also not good. Too much patience tends to laziness, or too much patience also can be an indication of corruption. That's a different psychology altogether. If you are lingering around with a particular thought or a particular individual for a time way beyond a limit, that means you have some kind of emotional connection. You are not looking at the problem, globally. You're looking at it from an emotional angle. So you need to be cautious about when you're saying, patience. Patience is absolutely I would say, it's good to have, right? A lot of people lack patience, but then too much of it is also dangerous.
Possibly the second part is, it's been like 1 year since, I have a conflict with one of my teammates. Whenever he comes and asks for a permission, I would be saying, okay, you can take, because everybody have their own, own set of items in their plate. And I never considered, those permissions to be something that should actually be seriously taken care of. And all I counted was, whether the work is getting done at time or not. However, at last minute he would be saying that, he would be just making it over. I have sent so and so, I have covered it up, so we'll be waiting for the response. So this kind of cover-ups at the last minutes were actually the conflicts in between me and my teammate. So I was like, I used to consider that the work is what, whether he's coming to work or not, whether he's completing the work or not, and are we reaching the deadlines on time.
Right.
So Ravi, you should read volume 1 because you've already started it, and I hope you'll find the answer in the book itself. Because Arnav has actually compiled a lot of things on corporate culture, psychology. I'm thinking you'll get the answer. Yes.
So, which market did you focus on? Indian market or American market? Any market globally?
Global.
Globally.
So, okay. So, Amit, I think you were talking about mindfulness. But tell us practically what exactly is mindfulness and how do we actually practice it? What are the benefits of it? I think we have been talking in general. What is mindfulness? But let's be more specific about it. And what's your trick or check to practice mindfulness in the proper way, in the correct way?
Sure. A lot of people confuse meditation and mindfulness, right? Mindfulness isn't a technique of meditation. Mindfulness is a technique of meditation. It's rather a quality of the mind itself. It's simply an undistracted attention to the present moment, right? It's about noticing sights, sounds, sensations, and even your thoughts. They are constantly arising in your consciousness at each moment. Now, mindfulness, in other words, is your ability to pay attention to the present moment. Now, broadly, there are two ways to practice mindfulness or meditation. Many of you must have heard about the first one. We do this practice by choosing a point of concentration. Right? For instance, you may choose breathing. All your concentration will be centered on the inhalation and exhalation of the breath. Right? The definition sounds simple, but the problem is most people can only concentrate for a very brief period of time. If I ask you to concentrate on hearing your breathing sound for just 5 minutes, do you think it's doable? Unfortunately, even 30 seconds becomes tough for many people. So therefore we should take assistance while we're doing these practices, at least for the first time. The second type of practice is exactly opposite to concentration. You simply allow all the sights, sounds, sensations, and even thoughts to come and go naturally as they do, and then never try to control them. Never try to force them. You're simply required to experience them as widely as possible and without any judgment. But many a times, these practices can be run in combination as well. Now, the important thing to notice here is that these practices are not about nullifying your thoughts or being completely thoughtless, right? Scientifically speaking, this is not possible. I mean, you cannot have a thoughtless mind. You will always have thoughts. There are many mindfulness, apps and meditation apps today. They're trained to have thoughtless mind, which shows that they got the fundamentals wrong. So be cautious even about choosing a mindfulness app that you're following. In the previous session, I guess I have suggested you to only follow the neuroscientists' way of doing things. Right? They're more researched and more productive. But the thing is, the problem with most of us is we don't notice while we are thinking. It's a major problem. We're always lost in our thoughts. Therefore, our consciousness constantly interferes with the subconscious brain's fundamental background processes. In the last session, I remember discussing about detachment very high level, very vaguely. And I noticed, I saw the recording and I noticed a few funny faces when I started saying detachment. Well, I think a lot of people get the idea of detachment also wrong. Detachment is not about leaving your responsibility, going away from someone, or going to the mountains and do meditation. No, detachment is not that. In a more scientific way, if I want to lay down detachment, you have got this separation in your brain, subconscious part and your conscious part. 99% of your brain is subconscious, right? And the only job it does, the subconscious mind, is to revisit your memory, right? When you are busy doing your daily activities, that subconscious mind is busy throughout the day revisiting your memory. It can be a good memory, it can be a bad memory, neutral memory. It's taking notes, it's taking notes of, okay, I did something wrong there. What could I have done better? It's taking notes. It's called defense mechanism. The brain is building, building pointers for you, for your future self. The problem is, your conscious mind's only job is to pick up information from the present moment. That's the only thing it's supposed to be doing. Your conscious mind is only supposed to be present at the present moment and pick up raw information and pass it on to the subconscious mind. But the problem is, most of us, conscious minds, always interferes with the subconscious mind. The conscious mind goes and sits with the subconscious mind and it tries to see what it's doing. In a way, it's interfering it, and therefore you do overthinking and all sorts of things, right? So detachment, scientifically, is knowing the boundary between your subconscious and conscious mind. Pay attention so that you understand the boundary between your subconscious and conscious. Once you understand the boundary, things will fall in place. That is detachment. Detachment is not about losing responsibility and going to the mountains. Can we, because we have quite a few people here, can we run a small 2 to 3 minutes quick mindfulness
Yes.
view of what it is basically?
Yes.
Right?
Let's do exercise. So we also know where we are,
Exactly.
and then it becomes really important then to read such books and kind of understand ourselves in a proper scientific way. So yeah,
Right.
that's what I am up for it. So everybody else, I hope all of you are up for it.
I recently bought this book, Meditations, from Marcus Aurelius. It's a 2,000 years old book. Can you believe? 2,000 years old mindfulness practices.
No.
But anyway, I'll stick to the agenda. So just take yourself seriously for just 2 minutes, please. Right? Make yourself, comfortable. Best if you're, of course, you're sitting on your chair, so just sit straight. Even if you're sitting on the floor, maybe you can keep your legs crossed. It's good if you can close your eyes, but feel free to leave it open if you like it. But it's good if you can close your eyes. It's okay to be, if you can turn off your camera, or if you want to turn on your camera, it's up to you. Right?
Yeah. So is everybody doing it? Srinivas, Ravi, Deepika, Devna, Achu, Mujhidaran sir, Megha.
At least 1 or 2 yeses. That'll be a success.
Yeah, I say,
Hey, Ravi, you switch on your camera, no? Srinivas got a meet order. Okay.
Again, if you're shy about closing your eyes and again turning on the camera, feel free to switch it off, no problem there. But do it seriously. Even if no one is watching you, at least do it seriously for 2 minutes. Just asking 2 minutes of your life, from your life. All right. So
Great. Thank you, Ranjani. Thank you, Ravi. Yeah, go ahead. You're all set. Ready to follow your instructions.
awesome. And mute your mic because and only hear me. Right. Best if you can close your eyes. If you feel comfortable. Now take a few deep breaths. When I say deep breaths, like you should hear your breathing sounds. Inhale, exhale. You should hear your breathing sounds. Now gradually become aware of the sensations of the breathing. Notice where you feel the breath more distinctly. It can be either at the tip of your nose or maybe the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Notice these things. Wherever you feel it, just focus there on the raw sensations. Just concentrate on your breathing. Let's do this for at least 30 seconds. I'll keep quiet. Alright, now let your breath come and go naturally. No need to control it. No need to make noise while you're breathing. Let it go, let it come and go naturally as you breathe naturally. Feel the sensations as closely as you can. Keep your eyes closed if you want to. Feel the sensations as closely as you can. Just concentrate on the feeling of the breathing itself. Now, as you pay attention to the breath, you will notice other sensations, perceptions in your body, or sounds, maybe tingling sensation somewhere in your body, itching sensation, or maybe some physical pain. Notice these things too, for a while. And then come back to the feeling of breathing. Try to concentrate on all your body movements. Keep your eyes closed. Just concentrate on all the subtle things in your body. Try not to think anything. I'll again keep quiet for 30 seconds. Now, once you catch yourself identified with some thoughts, slowly come back to the practice again. Notice everything without any judgment. Judgment, in fact, is just another thought. Now, the moment you become aware that you're thinking something, it can be images or language, observe the thought itself. Just try to observe it, and then slowly come back to the sensation of breathing. See if you can feel the next inhalation from the moment it appears until the moment it subsides. And do the same thing with the next exhalation. Alright, I think you can come back to the crazy world. If you have done this practice seriously for 2 to 3 minutes, you have been touring the present world. your conscious mind have been touring the present world, which we hardly do. All the time we are busy thinking and judging, predicting at the back of your mind. Now, I just want to give you a quick glimpse. You can become comfortable again. Come back to this session. It's done basically. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, I'll tell you a surprising fact in neuroscience. It's called the default mode network, DMN, also known as the default network or default state network, where a certain part of the brain shows maximum activity, where when you're doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Your brain is found to be mostly active when you're actually not doing anything. So, for instance, when you're doing, when you're daydreaming or mind wandering, maybe thinking about others or yourself, maybe overthinking, that area of your brain is found mostly active. And when you're concentrating on something, when you're doing some goal-oriented job, that part of your brain is found to be less active. In fact, that DMN is found to be absolutely zero when you're doing any kind of concentration-related job or goal-oriented job. Your brain's default network switches to zero. Your brain becomes much freer and efficient when you do something constructive. It's amazing, right? It's quite counterintuitive that when you're simply sitting and thinking, your brain is doing the maximum work. While you're actually working or focusing on something, your brain's default mode network is turned off. It's neuroscience, pure neuroscience. So, as you can see, the meditation is very simple practice to do, but if done properly, it's an extraordinarily profound, I would say. Now, these simple steps that you just followed, if followed correctly, it can be your first steps toward your spiritual awakening. I hope that has given us a quick view, Lavanya, on meditation, and more to read in the book.
Okay. A glimpse of it. Definitely. We talk so much about it, but only once you do it practically, like you did it right now. We want to now learn more about it, read more about it, or try to inculcate more about it, something like that. So I think that was a really good exercise. I am a yes. You went into some trance, I think.
Oh, that's. Thank you very much, Lavanya, for saying that. Because mostly people will be very cautious or conscious about this session going on, right?
Yes.
It's best done if you go on a retreat, a mindfulness retreat for a few weeks maybe. I've gone to one of those retreats once.
Okay.
Completely separate yourself from everything. No gadgets, nothing. It's unbelievable. It'll transform you the way you think.
Difficult.
Let's take leave from your office. 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, like I think first I have to tell my manager to read your book. And then maybe he'll approve the leave.
Please do that.
Everyone has raised their hand. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Now a joke is upcoming, I guess.
No. See, I don't have much interest in career change to stand-up comedian, so I'll stick to mindfulness for now. Okay. Though people have suggested you will be good in sales or as a stand-up comedian, I have dismissed the thought because of this parental thing of being molded as a millionaire, and I've stayed in that. Okay. Now, what I wanted to say about mindfulness, right? My mind wanders like Usain Bolt, okay? Faster than him. At any point, my mind splits into 2 or 3 Usain Bolts and running in 3 lanes, okay? At that speed. Whoever has to work on the 4th one, right? All my life I resisted. I read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, where one of the key things is focus on the task at hand and forget everything else. He tells that 1,000 years old wisdom, right? And to bring it to sharp focus. So last few years I gave up and I said I won't resist my mind wandering and focus on the thing at hand. Let it wander, let it go to the park, sing songs, enjoy. Because resistance is actually putting strengths on me. Now, there are some brains like mine which can't have a single thread. Right now I'm looking at you, listening to you. At the back I'm writing a story, joint story that I'm writing with Lavanya, some part of it. Then tonight I'm going to have dinner and all. So maybe this realization came in last 3-4 years that some things are meant to paralyzing what resources they have. Don't try to resist it and try to be focused. Let the parallel thread run and somehow finish off the main thread. Like the first among the threads is the work you have to do. And after that I have been quite peaceful. I never disliked myself for mind wandering. And instead of a person who uh, I self-labeled as a non-focused person, I thought I'm a multi-core CPU. I mean, it's kind of positive thing. As long as the main thread completes the task, I do that along with other parallel threads. Trust me, I'll be doing office work, but like I said, right now we are doing 2 stories for Radio Michi, myself and Lavanya. I let that thread run. I don't resist it. Don't resist it. But what works for me is that let it wander into 3-4 threads. I don't let these smaller threads completely switch off my main thread. So instead of taking 30 minutes, I might take 40 minutes. But I'm peaceful. I don't hate myself for not being focused because everybody in the world told me you have to be focused, never paralyzed. I thought my apna, I created my own situation. I don't resist non-focus now because it's multi-threaded. Just a couple of things. Myself may not be correct things, so don't listen to me and follow. Let me follow my own stuff, guys. So that's my feedback to you.
Babu,
Yes.
I just talked about 2 different classes of mindfulness, right? The first one is about concentration. Second level is the opposite, is without concentration, just to visualize the way it is, just to be. I think you have reached the second level. See, it has worked for you in this way. Hang on with that. So as long as whichever way it is working for you. Many people cannot concentrate. I have seen many people. I have pushed a few people to concentrate, and what they got is more headaches. So
what happens is when the switching from one thread, the current task in hand is the main thread, right? This switches to a story, singing a song, household chores, something else. And this thread, when it gets its time, maybe for 3 minutes, that 3 minutes I just do it as it is. But then again switches to, hey, what is the next chapter in our novel? And then it comes back there, right? It gets 45 seconds of this thread and 3 minutes. But these 3 minutes I have somehow learned to, utilize those 3 minutes, switch back to the second thread, let it run. I don't resist myself or, don't let to suppress that thread and come back because I have to write a report at office and so on. So that's how I made peace with myself and I was able to complete the tasks. My mind wandering happens in me, it's terrible. I mean, yeah, even when praying, I'm supposed to pray 5 times a day, I pray 3 times a day. Even within, I'm sinner in that sense. Even when I'm praying to God, I'm thinking of my novel. And then I come back, hey, I know I'm praying. Forget the novel. God, make help us. And then I do my book.
but praying also is a mindfulness practice.
Right.
It's a religious doing mindfulness.
We do mindfulness, but the strange thing is, even in prayer, I'm paralyzed. Not able to focus on a single thread, a single task, which I'm going my head to God, the Lord, and I have to ask for some blessings. And suddenly, next chapter, kya kar raha hu?
You're very honest about saying about all this about yourself. hardly a few people have the guts to say it. So, you
And,
just
and one more revelation is some of the thoughts and prayer are actually simple thoughts. Once I go up, God bajayega mera peech. Alright, okay. That's my two.
So let's move on.
I think out of everyone, Srinivas sir has taken it very, very seriously. He just switched off his light also.
He's frozen actually. He's having some network.
He's still meditating, maybe.
No, I saw him. It's now it's frozen. Anyways, when he's back, we'll ask him questions. But it's so, you also said earlier that this book is also got more about psychology, right? So what are the benefits of the various psychology training that you're proposing in your book? And how is it going to help the employees in children?
Right. Yeah, as I said, this book is, has two aspects: psychology, and another one is diversity. So, none of the companies today, be it IT or non-IT, offer any mandatory mental health training. I also discussed this in the first volume. You remain a miserable person all your life, struggling inside your mind, battling with the balance of work life, right? So, and you're not going to take charge of it. I'm damn sure about it, because all your life you have been pushed by situations or people, and you thought, no, I'm okay. I don't need help. I got this. Right? Suddenly, why will you push yourself to do something, which works for you, or something that you don't agree to understand? Someone has to. Now, who is that someone? Now, you spend 8 to 12 hours of your day at work, and the rest of the time you spend preparing to go to work, or maybe the post-exhaustion when you're back from your work. And it would not be incomprehensible to say that your company should take the charge. So I'm after the company, not you. But sadly, none of the companies does. And the main reason why I wrote so much about the benefits of this training, right, in the entire book, is visibly evident, right? And I'll keep writing and publishing more. So someday we get to see the real changes happening, right? Now, if you read the book, I have introduced a few self-tests. It's something unique that you will see in the book. Something like mindfulness test, workplace toxicity test, self-esteem test, stress test, etc. Right? You can take these quick exams for yourself. And then later part of the book, I explored some strategies you can start to use on how to improve your life. These training enables you to the benefits of this training. What it enables you to do is to confront your fears, develop self compassion, develop a spirit of forgiveness, feel your emotions more vibrantly. You become more open about your anxieties. It's a good thing, like what Mehboob just did. You become more genuine, and you recognize your top skills. And all of it comes when you take some time out for mindfulness practices. Now, by understanding the mechanisms of training, did I just got disconnected? The screen just...
No. David has raised her hand. So he has a question to that. So we can make your...
I'll just finish it and we'll take the questions.
Okay.
So,
you can ask your question now.
So
No. Arnav, you can continue. I'm listening. I'll raise my question after this. It is totally different.
Okay.
Sure. So there is my senior. So don't break me down here, okay? They not also did my ragging when I was in college. Anyways, a different topic. So, okay, let me come back to the question that you asked, Lavanya. You know, how are these mechanisms of training, helping us? In which areas they're helping us? They're helping us in our self-awareness, self-regulation, in our social skills, empathy, in our motivation. These are your integral part of your emotional intelligence. Now, they are your emotional intelligence too. Now, by using different methods of positive psychology, you can live your life with more meaning and purpose. Right? Feel the emotions that involve joy. Improve your relationships, both personal and professional, in your office. And most of all, you alter your perspective. Change the way you look at things and situations. In a way, you are actually altering your neurochemistry. I mean, obviously, as I remember, Dr. Maria was explaining about the psychology, and she mentioned about how the brain is constantly changing, right? But when you are indulged in positive psychology, that change is different, right? Now, when I talk about mindfulness, what I really mean is the ability to focus your attention on the present moment. And as I said, living in the moment can be life-changing. And how it affects your brain. Now, scientists still don't understand. They don't have a complete knowledge of what happens in the brain when you meditate or practice mindfulness. Our understanding, I would say, of brain is only the tip of the iceberg. There's still so much more to do on that front. But what we really know is from science is hundreds of billions of synapses, right, allow brain cells to communicate with one another in the human brain. Right, the brain includes between 80 to 100 billion neurons, right, which aid in the formation of these connections that I'm talking about. These neural connections are called synapse connections or synapse formation, or just connection in general, happen in a very particular way when you practice mindfulness, right? It positively, this practice positively impacts a variety of cognitive domains, including your attention, your memory, your executive function, your cognitive flexibility, and many more things. There's a research that showed that experienced meditators make more conscious decisions. The more number of time and more number of hours you meditate, your decision making sharpens as you pay more attention during action execution. So people also reported lower negative emotion intensity and frequency. Which means that they have a better ability to deal with negative emotions. It's simply that what it means. There is also a new research that shows that some age-defying effects, right, of long-term meditation. Now I know Mehboob will say that this is how Arnab looks younger on every session, maybe, right? So what is happening? There are micro changes happening when you meditate, and these changes may enhance the gray matter over time in your brain. So you age slowly, and you look active and fresh throughout your life. It's a great benefit, right? And with this training, you also attain a clear mindset. You attain clarity of mind that helps you in establishing a healthy relationship with your office colleagues, which is my main target, because it's about the corporate space that we are targeting. You now can build more meaningful relationships in every front of your life, be it office or home. You're now respected more in your group. You have the ability now to influence more people in a positive way. and slowly, you will notice your life is turning a positive turn. I'll stop here, Lavanya, and I'll take the question that is awaiting.
Devna, please go ahead. Mr. Devna.
Thank you. It's really nice knowing all this. I think I have to go through the book and learn more.
And Devna, if you don't mind, when you're interacting, could you switch your camera on?
I look ugly. I'm so sad.
No one is ugly. Yeah. Yes, you look nice.
Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, not the one of
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a bit weak in literature, so I understand less. So
By the way, Mehboob and Lavanya and everyone, mostly to the hydro leads, S. Devnath or Shashank Devnath is trying to write his first kids book, and we will need your help. Okay, so that's a different topic, but yeah, thank you.
That's a journey I have been thinking, and it's a quite long time. I'll go there sometime.
Please, I have done your recommendation. Now make the question a little easy, right?
No, see, this is out of the experience. We all are experienced with the work that we do. Now, out of my experience, past 20 years, managers, when we talk about managers are nothing. What I see is a bridge between the executives that basically who defines a code of ethics, company's code of ethics, and a process and procedure, and they convey the same to the team. Now, my query is more on, what is your view in understanding what's actually when you see a company which is multicultural, which is diversified. When I say multicultural, it can be not just within India, different culture, but across the globe. Okay. Now, what is your view? What is the main importance of diplomacy? You see, because in corporate world, diplomacy is the key, to survive. And so, what is the main importance of diplomacy, and how do you? I see the major conflict that we had seen in organizations, either political, either issues, are mainly because of managers' eagerness to not learn. Basically, managers, they think that they know everything and they don't keep on learning from the young generation. So these are the 2 points. What's your view on those? Sorry.
I mean, these are also allegations, if you realize, not points.
No, I understand that. This is out of my, I'd say, all the scene that if I break down further for every conflict that I had seen in organizations, not on me, but different scenarios that I have come across in multiple companies and different projects, that's what, if I break down, I see that there are 2 views of it. Either one person is not ready to learn, other person is not motivating the team. So how do you deal with it, or what's your view in it?
Right. So obviously you're talking about diversity in terms of competence, right? Not diversity in terms of not racial diversity, which I wrote in the book, racial diversity. But your question is not in the book, in the context of the book, but still, I will try to attempt to answer it. Your question is, let me rephrase it. It's about how, of course, our organization is filled with people, mostly junior people who are the doers, right? As I mentioned, the bottom of the pyramid, and then senior people who are more mature. I think it's the responsibility of the more mature people to look after the junior. And the way we see politics in an organization, it's one thing to get into the politics. Politics is not a bad term. You need to be studying political science to do politics, right? But misuse of politics is a bad thing, right? So getting into politics and observing politics are two different things. That's how you tackle the diplomacy that you mentioned. Getting into politics means you're getting in support of loopholes that they are violating. You understood, okay, this free group of people, they're trying to violate something, and you go and do the same. And then you shake hand with them. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is to simply observe it. Simply take note of the gaps and work toward fixing it. So obviously, the second one that I just mentioned, you can only do that when you're in an authoritative position. Obviously, you cannot just do that right when you get into the organization. First, my tip would be, when you get into a new organization, if you're a newcomer, you obviously won't get it, so forget about it. If you're an experienced employee getting into an organization, your first step will be to understand the biases, understand the company culture, right? Understand how things are moving. Also understand who is coming into the organization and who is leaving the position. These are certain things that you need to take into account silently while devising your next move. When I say next move, devising to fix problem, not become part of the corruption or become part of the ongoing trend. And then the moment you get into an organization, you simply cannot go straight on, bang on, fix it. You will be treated as a threat. So understand the company structure, and understand how it functions, and understand. Now, another important thing to notice is, even though maybe the director or the CEO is the most influential person in the group because he has that chair, I'm sorry, using the wrong word. Maybe he's the most important person in the room, let's say, but he may not be the most influential one. The influential one can be a 1 or 2 level down him. You never know. So this is about the maturity to understand who to reach out to. Simply by looking at the chair, if you reach out to people, you will fail. This is also my experience, and I also read this in the books. So I think I vaguely answered this question. It's a tricky question to answer, but yeah. What do you think?
No, good. It's a nice. So it's just to understand the views. We all are learning, so yeah, it's just every day is a learning experience for us.
Thanks for asking this question.
And Devnath, I want to add one point. Okay, you said managers don't know. Okay, general, that's right. I have so much experience.
It actually
No, that managers don't know. The problem comes when there's a manager who does not know that he does not know. Huge problem.
Very good point.
Right?
It's very essential.
And it's not just a he, it's a she also in 3 different organizations. I have seen 2 such people. There are managers who are clear that they don't know and they don't cross beyond a point in meetings when they talk and tell. At some point they might say, I'm not the best expert on this, but this is what I think, and just have to check and come back. I don't know. They'll word it nicely and they push the boundaries of what they know. Then there are managers, and this has happened with the he and the she. They just know that they don't know and keep on. and both are like in the good books of the CEO in those 2 companies, the he and she. And what option do I have except to smile and nod? Yes, you stupid idiot. Yes. What the heck are you telling me? So the first category is good. The more what we call widespread category of managers who don't know the department or subject that they are heading is fine. They are just being paid to monitor and see that the team is doing well. Not expected to know much. And the second category is very irritating. Those who don't know that they don't know. Yeah, that's my experience.
Well said. I mean,
Please.
You should all read Abhinav's book.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, everyone, I suppose.
No, see, Abhinav, we have briefly. Oh, okay. Srinivas sir, yeah. I think Srinivas sir wants to speak.
Arnab, you look like a guru here. So I have a lot of questions. So more than about this book here, since it has the subject is also mindfulness here. This is personal rather than a leader or a manager. I don't know what getting lost or more concentration when somebody says, even when I'm going in a lift, elevator. So somebody after getting down later calls me and say, I was coming down with you in the lift, but you now noticed me. So what should I say? Whether I was concentrating on something too seriously or I am unmindful of this. So I always get a confused thought about this. Just throw some light on this. What exactly I am in?
I mean, sir, for your position, obviously, well, what can I answer you? Position, it's very easy to not notice people because so many people work under you. But what I do, I would say, it happens with most of us. I offer them a coffee, quick coffee. This is, I mean, coffee and a small drink builds relationship. I quickly jump the topic to a different, more connecting and socializing topic. Oh, I am so sorry. I probably must be thinking something else. I was really hoping that we can catch up, for a coffee. What do you think? His attention will definitely turn and switch to a different mode. It's no way you can escape these things, sir. But it's better to switch to a more social topic. If someone is confronting that you haven't noticed them, let's not discuss or stay on the topic. Let's make it more social. That's what I do. I simply go for a quick coffee break, or maybe invite them to my house I do this, and it swiftly takes a different route. You begin to have a different conversation, and he completely forgets that you ignored him, because now at the present moment you're showing so much importance to him that he ultimately forgets that what his main question was. I think this is what I would have done if in your position. And sir, in your position, obviously it makes sense. I mean, you can easily not notice anyone.
No, it's not that. See, when I'm straight in front of somebody, I have no problem. All that they must have thought about me will vanish in a few minutes. But I always think on something in the mind. I don't even look at the person who is straight in front of my eyes. And there might be two reasons. One is I lived most of my time in professional time in Japan. So where staring or looking into somebody's eyes is considered as rude. So in trains, or when we travel in the jam-packed trains or buses, we don't look into the eyes of somebody. Japanese hate it, and somehow it got into my, especially even if when ladies are there, I don't even look at them. And gents, sometimes if I am not having any thought in the mind, I may say smile at them. So, but somehow it has gone into my habits also that I generally don't stare. They consider it as staring, but in India, if we don't look at straight into their eyes, when we talk, we look into their eyes straight. When it is not my business, I just keep into my thoughts. And not that I am purposefully avoiding, but somehow when I am thinking something, I don't see anything beside me.
So there is a mindfulness trick in the book. It's called walking mindfulness. You can do this. You can just wear the earplugs and hear the 30 minutes talk on walking mindfulness. Take a walk, and then it will train you to see each and everything that you see around. It will train you to notice each and every subtle things that we are missing in our day-to-day life. Just subtle things. I mean, I've seen people simply ignoring the fact that other people are there on the road. He or she must be missing out on certain beautiful things. right? He or she probably would be engaged on their phones or probably thinking something. It's a problem, sir. It's a problem. It is a problem that we don't notice things. Mindfulness actually, what it makes you is to really observe each and everything, what is happening in the present moment. Small sounds from each place. If you take a detective, when he enters the room, within 30 seconds, he notices each and every small detail of the room. He's trained to be conscious. So that's a measure of intelligence, but then, yeah, it requires some training.
Okay, since we have already touched the topic of diversity training, can you please expand more on that and how does it really affect the corporate space?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Sushant asked about the diversity in terms of competence, but in the book I wrote diversity in terms of racial diversity, which we see mostly, and then the times are really changing when it comes to to this question of diversity. Finally, we're seeing more leaders chosen for who they are, for how they think, and for how they lead, not for how they look, right? That's how Obama became the first black president of the US. Naila became the first female prime minister in the Arab world. Rishi Sunak became the first Indian prime minister of the UK. Sadiq became the first mayor of London of Pakistan descent, right? These are extreme examples, but we still need to see the saturation building up to the average level, to the common level. Now, diversity training is designed in the book to combat discrimination and prejudice inside any organization, per se, and with a common goal of allowing all employees, regardless of ethnicity, gender, handicap, or other factors, to come together, to work together harmoniously and benefit impartially from the same opportunities, right? Most organizations follow a reactive approach of handling diversity issues. There is a way you can report if a racial or discriminatory incident occurs. I'm not saying there are no ways to do that, but we still are not proactive about these things, right? We rely much on the reactivity of the situation. There is no mandatory training available that can ensure its prevention, right? That's the main concern. I mean, we don't have psychology training, we don't have diversity training in an organization as big as the one that we work in. Most organizations, as I said, follow reactive methods, and in certain organizations, you do have this training, right? I'm not saying that many organizations do have it, but however, the solution is a bit complicated, right? Diversity training is effective in general, but it is extremely reliant on the type, let's say, quality and frequency of the training. Now, in my book, with the application of diversity training, you get these two immediate benefits. One is in the line of information, another one is in the line of engagement. So number one is this information becomes less of a problem. So employees are more open to working with people from different backgrounds, and the information is never lost during any transaction. So you see a smooth flow of information happening because there is no politics happening because of the racial differences. The second one is the engagement with initiatives. Improves. Now, diversity training has been found to improve employee participation in diversity initiatives. The latest research shows that employees who attended these trainings are being substantially better able to deal with initiatives. there have been chunks of experiments going on, so as to implement these trainings. There are attempts being made, but we are yet to see some real, real training materializing, I would say. Now, because my attempt is to formalize and standardize these training into organizations, right? So I only cannot talk about the positive sides. I also have to look at the downsides of streamlining the diversity training. The first one that I can think of is if employees believe that the firm strategies are being pushed on them without their comprehension, they are significantly more likely to rebel. So we need to be very careful about when we are implementing these trainings. We need to be careful about these aspects. Another interesting study shows that diversity training influences women more than men. Yeah. Surprisingly, if it had a greatest impact on women's behavior. Now, junior female employees sought mentorship from male employees and female superiors in order to advance their career. And when they ran the same experiment, the same thing was comparatively found less in men. Now, this is a subject of gender equality. I haven't extensively discussed it in the book, but we need to make sure that we take these case into consideration, this gender equality, while building this training courses. You may refer to Jordan Peterson's strong view on the patriarchal society and equality. It's often wrongly portrayed to what factors are considered on labeling or even making a certain group of men responsible for certain outcomes. Right? It doesn't fit into the fundamentals of how a society is built. There are certain inequalities, deliberately created so that the society functions properly. And these inequalities are not created by men, right? These are agreed by organizational arrangements, right? Well, I can give you examples. I'll quickly move from this topic because it's not a core topic in the book. For example, you only have 1% of females in bricklaying jobs, right? And for example, you have about 12 to 13% of men in nursing job. And the moment you try to equalize them, the whole social structure breaks down. You cannot equalize certain things, right? Your projects will fail. So I'll come back from this topic because this is something that I have not extensively wrote about, but planning to write in another book. Now, other drawbacks. Let me stick to the downsides of the training for the time being. The efforts that you spend can backfire. Now, research found that policing against prejudice in the workplace, force-feeding people's action, resulted in them rebelling and becoming more biased. So we need to be very, very careful about how strongly we implement those trainings. And let's talk about one final point. The cost of implementation is another big problem. Why these trainings are not streamlined yet. And I've given some roadmaps as to how to work toward implementing the training solution. We need to kickstart the initiative in a healthy way. We need to study the present biases, as I mentioned on the other question that Sushant asked. You need to ensure hiring tests are standardized. You need to keep the performance rating in check, right? And starting a conversation about equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace can be intimidating, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You can put it into action by simply becoming opening the conversation with executives, or find the right motivations to accomplish to accomplish this job. So, yeah, because I mean, I'll stop here. A lot of things I've written in the book, so you can find it.
Yeah, I think what you said is a valid point on the diversity training. But what I feel about this topic is, in general, about any training, it is a management, the company, the management's value system, who has to take the responsibility of this.
So,
It doesn't help in a way that you put it training, but you really don't follow it.
correct.
So,
Standardize it, yeah. Standardize it.
so the first is the higher level, like you said, the pyramid. The higher level should believe that we believe in these values and we will try to achieve. I mean, it slowly flows into the system. It's not that difficult if management, decides to do this. I'm saying this because when I was in Japan, like you said, sometimes it's just one person. So on the whole floor, around 100 or 250 employees, there were hardly 5 or 6 men. In my team, there were only 2 women. One was the actual processor, and I was a team lead. And I had my first job as a team lead. Under me, everybody was senior men who were actually waiting for the promotion, but the company didn't give them and hired from outside. And yeah, I mean, it's okay to face the problems. What I wanted to say here is not that what I did or something, but my bosses, my manager and his manager, they believed in inequality. They believed that we should support female managers as well, but they can't. And at the start it was hard, but with their help, it was normalized. So what I'm saying is, no matter you put diversity training, you put psychological training, management has to work hand in hand. The top player doesn't believe, and if they don't inculcate those values of training, the next level of management role, it doesn't work in the company.
Imagine if you don't have traffic light signals and you tell everyone to please stop when you see the other cars come.
It doesn't work that way.
Have to put some standards. Have to put the
So far strongly that I know you are working so hard to kind of bring this awareness among the people, but it would also be good if the managers are getting aware rather than the students or the 28. So this book not only belongs to the younger generation, but also to a bigger population. And I think we should consider that as well. I mean, that's what I was trying to grasp it in today's
That is definitely a joke.
Oh, he doesn't agree to me.
Oh, you're mute. You're mute.
No, this was in my mind right from the beginning of this event. Okay, when we are talking about motivations and how to communicate and empathize with employees, right? There is this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. First, your physical needs, hunger, food, sex, whatever, sleep, then money, security. There's some hierarchy in which a person grows to the needs of the next layer when the needs of the layer below are fulfilled, right? They go up that way. And the ultimate is reaching your potential and self-fulfillment. That's the top. That's where the highest need is. Now, the problem practically I've seen is this hierarchy of needs, right? Your first need is food, hunger, water and all. Highest is fulfillment of potential, self-fulfillment or achieving a potential, right? This automatically does not translate to age groups of and culture, right? A 25-year-old Indian maybe in the first or two second levels, right? And a 25-year-old Chinese maybe in the third level. He has enjoyed all the many women, everything in life by the time they hit 25, right? Now, and you look at a person in India itself, and somebody may not have fulfilled the first two layers, they're still stuck in the bottom. But that guy is 40, 45. But this is the mental problem that I have to try to get back and see where it's coming from. So, glean some, remarks from unofficial meetings and try to get into their little bit into the personal side in my own methodologies. And people confess with me a lot, more than I expect them to. So when you communicate and find out their motivations, the first thing that blinds you or impresses you is the age group of that person, not where he or she is in the hierarchy of needs. You get the point, right? So we will have to consider two things. One is the age group of the person and where exactly he or she is in that hierarchy of needs, and then tailor your communication in such a way that we know their motivations and enhance them. A 25-year-old married man and a 35-year-old unmarried man may not behave like the way you expected. Let me rephrase that. A 22-year-old married man, right, and a 35-year-old unmarried woman may not fall in your expectations of how a 22-year-old and a 35-year-old behave until you know these facts of their personal lives. So age group automatically won't relate to their motivations and how we communicate. It's where they are in the hierarchy also is a factor that managers need to get through. But I see that regardless they communicate and think the motivation of everybody is like kind of same based on their age group, right? So this is just one of the things that I learned. And it was triggered when we were doing the first question that Lavani asked, but someone forgot to tell it, and then now I realized.
I am pretty sure you have read my book. Now I'm pretty sure because I have laid down a few of the points that you mentioned.
I read only volume 1, 2 started, 3 get it.
And it also shows that your maturity and the level of your expertise, that we are the people who can actually write about these things and maybe try to implement on a more standardized way. So yeah.
I think I have asked all my questions. I would like to just ask you the last question, Arnav. So I think from this session today we learned a lot about psychological training and diversity training. But how do you think you're proposing something radical? Where do you stand in that?
Right. So as you know, there are a huge variety of psychology training and diversity training available throughout the corporate network. I'm not saying there are no trainings available. There are trainings available. These are not mandatory training, right? And as I said earlier, they are implemented on a reactive basis, right? The system always waits for an incident to occur, which is obviously not a good thing, right? If you read the book, you would not find the actual training modules, right? But I have laid down a lot of background theories or you can say pointers that show the usefulness of the training. I mean, you possibly cannot aim to write a book with actual training modules in it. It'll be like 1,000 pages, right, or more than that maybe. The training modules are built separately. I have them, and this book lays down a lot of prerequisites and builds the economics of how the implementation and standardization of the training can be achieved. And if you remember, I drew your attention to the science and philosophy in the second volume, right? For the very purpose of altering your mindset, or rather readying your mindset, that you can now you can see the same world from a different view. So I would say my approach, to keep this answer very short and simple, I would say my approach here is radical in the sense that I'm trying to enable the triggers that that will help us build the right environment and the right mindset for implementing and standardizing the training structures that I talked about. So that is different compared to the other books that you see in the market. Yeah.
Perfect. So we wish you all the best. I can already see the books are different. Having read the first and second volume, third I might get started and been busy. I definitely give it a review. So that ends my questions. Yes, Srinivas sir has a question. Please go ahead.
The mic is off, yeah.
Am I dragging it? followed by asking questions. I don't know. I feel lost when I attend your sessions and more interesting. So still, I have. It's not a question. Basically, you're writing books, okay, and which are more like very useful for the corporate world. And as we said, we are talking about training and implementation. I think you should start working with one or two organizations. I don't know if I already done where they, it's a book actually, but when it is converted into kind of SOPs and trainings, probably it will serve because if you are writing a book now at this point of time, you feel that there is a vacuum still in that area where lot of improvement is required to be done in the corporate, management or leadership, whatever it is. So you feel there is a vacuum. That's why you're writing this book, okay, with your experience. And so I wish to see one or two organizations implementing, taking your help into formulating all the SOPs and training materials, so which will be more systematic. With your background in this, ideas, you have the ideas. Probably you can devise a training module as well. So I hope you're working with, it's such like thoughts also.
Absolutely, sir. This idea is well taken. I'm actually trying to do the same with my organization. Similar approach has been discussed with my HR team, and I'll tell you, it's not so easy. You will be very easily ignored, like nobody. So, but I'm trying my best. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason is nowadays the reading habits are very less. So the people who are actually interested in reading, they read all the books in the world. So these people always keep reading. Whatever new book comes, who have the habit of reading books. But most people, I visited a lot of colleges. I asked the entire class of 60 100 people whenever I visited colleges, do any of you read a newspaper? Not even a single hand raised. I mean, in India, so current generation, they rely more on their smartphones or whatever it is for information. But when we read, reading is a better way of taking into your brain. Reading is much better than listening to audio visual thing. So I feel so. Because when you read, your eyes, your ear, everything is focused. So I don't know that is still lacking. And so in good, it should start in the schools. The reading habit of a book. I had a good schooling, so we had libraries, we had dramatics and all. But not even 90% of the schools in AP or wherever here don't have that library inculcation structure or book reading habits. So this is one area where I feel very sad that kids don't read books other than their textbooks or associated training material. Now with more of companies coming like Byju's and all, where they focus only all the time on reading or study material related to only the subjects. There's nobody who has come up with providing alternative to only books and subjects. Life has lot to teach, and the school should start these reading habits. Like I'm wondering that people like so many books are coming, but I notice that only those who have the habit are reading the books. Those who don't have the habit are not coming into this. So we have to convert non-book readers slowly into book reading people. I don't know. Yeah, whenever you want to write something, as you said, they will be ignored. Like I tried asking people to read books. No, we keep reading books. They never read. So
I'm trying with the corporate employees.
Exactly.
You can see in my book, I've got bullet points. We like to read, slides and presentations in a bullet point view. So one way of, making them read the book. But as you realize, sir, you're talking hardcore psychology. Reading, when you read a book, you're basically getting the information from the book and you're making a mental model of what you understand. But when you look at a video, when you see a video, that mental model is already prepared for you. So your brain is not functioning when you're looking at a video. Simply, it's not getting upgraded. But when you read a book, your brain is actually transforming that into a mental model. It's actually working. Your visualization, capacity increases by reading book. And it will be a serious problem if we have less book readers in the coming generation. I totally agree with you.
That's true. That's what I am feeling very sad about.
Right? I mean, I think, Mehboob, if you realize, not only it's a hat trick, it is also the longest book launch session, at least for my book.
It's very
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm okay. So where it gets more complicated is that hiring decisions are being made using AI. So all your volumes will need an upgrade in the near future because based on how you answer questions and or what answers you give in text and how you give a video interview without any human involved, recommendations are being made for the offer. It's gonna get more complicated because the empathizing and motivations of a candidate start from the interview and job offer itself.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're trying to do that after the person enters, it's maybe a bit late. So the interview should, like you said, should have some tests and suggestions based on those personality tests or behavioral assessments, which are not being done properly, but should be done by humans. But the thing is, AI-based hiring has already started.
Yeah.
And probably AI-based motivation and coaching will start soon. It's gonna get a bit more complicated than managers trying to get the mindfulness, diversity, and all, because you have to write code for the AI to become that. In the future, what you're telling managers should do, AI should be doing, so that, and for that, programmers have to write code for that right now. So that's a thing.
I somehow agree on that. Somehow, right? I mean, I support the AI way of doing things. Am I not audible?
You bro, can you repeat please?
I think something happened to these sessions. Oh yeah, I was saying that. Am I still audible?
You're breaking, so can you repeat please? You are audible.
What I was saying is, I completely support the AI way of. Right, there is definitely some problem with the video. But what I was saying is, I'm in support with the AI interview recording system. It'll definitely take us time and effort to build that, but once built, it can actually help. As compared to what we see with human interviewers, I think it will actually benefit when you put AIs into it. But obviously, you need to have a human lead at the front.
And that has to transition from the HR to the current managers also. Maybe they should incorporate AI, if it is proven good, as part of their annual assessments or whatever, ongoing assessment or intervention, how to motivate and communicate with this particular person. But right now, I've gone through a couple of them, and it's a bit not well established as of now. The way it scores a person just by audio, video, text interaction, the AI at the current state of the art is not that mature, I can say that, because I've played with a couple of them.
Does anybody else have any questions from the audience?
this particular AI, the session platform is giving up, it seems.
Right.
Okay, so anybody, I think there are no more further questions.
Just about covered the 2 hours.
First time in time.
And I think we should ask, we should check with Deepika, Megha, and Akshay before we have, if we want to talk.
Yeah, Deepika, Megha.
Akshay, you guys there?
To be honest, can't even see actually.
Megha, Deepika, you there, Akshay? Can you hear me? I think something is wrong with the audio video right now. So, or maybe Swapnil, last word. If the others are not, I think freezing.
From the white face.
Okay, Lara, I think it looks like there's no last question then.
So all the best, Arnab. And thank you so much, sir, for for attending this session. And yeah. Okay, also all the best to you, Srinivas sir, for your new movie, Rockstar. Yeah, so is this a...
Yes.
Okay, sure, we will watch.
Srinivas sir is the producer?
Mehboob Saab, I heard you have some relation with movie industry too, so probably we'll get to meet. I need some advice. I'm a novice to this industry.
No, are you a producer or a director, sir?
Yeah, I'm a producer. Just done 2 movies, and one is completed. The other one is in post production.
Okay.
So I believe you have some connection to movies.
No. Not that great. But we'll catch up in January. We'll book your time, Lavanya and Lisa. We are basically storytellers, right?
Yeah, but still.
Is it possible for you to drop your phone number, sir?
Yeah.
Just put it in the chat and say
Yeah.
Or email ID also is fine.
Email it must be there, but yeah, anyway, please put it in.
If you put it in the chat, everyone will ask you to become an actor. You can get it. What's the light to become actor?
Srinivas sir is very humble and grounded.
Very much. Very much. Sir, please make a movie on corporate life.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not? There are so many storytellers here, and I think for script there should not be a problem.
Absolutely. It will be a pleasure to meet you for the non-corporate
Sure.
discussion. But like Lavanya said, all the best, Arnab. Hope you can. I'm sure, not hope. You will convert your books into training workshops, and you will become like both books, and people will be, or managers, or whoever your target is, will get the benefit of the latest research on things like communication, mindfulness, psychology, and all so on and so forth. It's been a pleasure attending all the 3 book launch sessions, and I believe you told either WhatsApp or an email that you are planning a session with students. I look forward to that. You can come as participants, see, and then if it is online, otherwise all the very best for the session with students and further progress with the book and the material there.
Yes, thank you very much. I will definitely invite you all. Lavanya, Mehboob, we will need your presence there, valuable presence. I will let you know.
Sure. Are you planning to come to Hyderabad, India, Hyderabad?
Yeah, I'm coming to Hyderabad on the 24th of December. But I will be there for a couple of days only. So yeah.
Right. 24th, I might be in Nagpur. So let's see if we can catch up well and good. Otherwise, the next time.
Sure. I'll try to see if you are around, then we can catch up.
Right.
Arnab, I might come to Melbourne next year, first January.
I will pick you up from the airport.
Now, first my daughter will land up there. She is probably coming for training in flying. She wants to become a pilot. So she may come first. I may come a bit later, but definitely I'll come to Melbourne.
Any plan for Sydney, sir?
Yeah, once I come there, I'll find like a guided missile wherever you are.
Yeah.
Right?
You cannot miss Sydney. It's the most happening city in Australia.
Yeah, I suggested my daughter for Sydney, but she is
I
towards
think that
Melbourne.
Oh, by the way, Devnath is from Melbourne, so are you agreeing or not?
no, Melbourne is the most happening.
That's
You have to add the words in Australia, like Arnab said. If you're talking global, it's Hyderabad.
Absolutely, that is true.
You can't find a better blend of conservatism and futurism than Hyderabad. 21st century AI software versus traditional temples and mosques. You can't beat the city.
In real sense, definitely, any day.
Right. On that wonderful note, Hyderabad readers and writers. We'll wrap it up here.
Yes. Good night, everyone. Thank you. All the best, Rania. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone.
And my apologies to everyone for joining very late today. I'm absolutely sorry about it.
Oh, we forgot that.
You should take a cup of coffee from Srias.
Yeah, we'll join. All the best. Good night. All the best, Arnab.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.